Arsenal 4, Atletico Madrid 0. What a night. What a performance we've just seen at the Emirates Stadium. A thumping win. It was 0-0 at halftime. I didn't see that coming. I knew that we'd find a way. I knew that if we just improved our set piece delivery, little tweaks, little adjustments like that, that we'd find a way through. But instead, what we saw was a demolition job. It was one of the most incredible performances, a blistering 15 to 20 minutes from Arsenal, obliterated them. It was extraordinary to watch. The final whistle has literally gone about 8-9 minutes ago. This is going to be a raw, instant style reaction. Firstly, welcome to the Real Arsenal Deal podcast. This is Rav, as always. You can tell that I'm buzzing. Beaming smile. I hope wherever you are in the world, I hope you are well, and I hope you've been able to watch that and enjoy that as much as I have, because there's so much good to unpack. It's just an extraordinary performance, a real statement from Arsenal. That's the message I've got. This is a statement win from Arsenal, the kind of performance that we knew we're capable of. However, for one reason or another, just haven't been able to string together for a little while. But now we have, and we've answered a lot of questions. And look, let's just get straight into it. Thank you so much for being here. I usually start these sorts of match reviews, these podcasts, with a bit of a recap on selection and how the team shaped up and lined up. And look, I guess it's a good place to start, because we saw two changes from the win at Fulham. I think wise changes. If you're familiar with my channel, you've probably heard me talk before about the load on Calafiori and Timber. I'm just keeping an eye on the minutes that our fullbacks are playing. It was nice to see Lewis Skelly start in this match. It's even though he does have his ways of driving through the midfield, which I'll come to in a moment. That was key to Martinelli's goal. He's a different profile to what Calafiori is. Calafiori will just pop up anywhere. He pops up where a right winger is meant to be. Lewis Skelly does invert and he roams around as well, but they're different. They're unique in so many ways, but they're also different in so many ways. And I like the profile of Lewis Skelly because he drives through that midfield, that running power. He uses his strength, his physique. He's able to protect the ball in a very unique way. And it was great to see. We saw a lot of that towards the back end of last season. And so much has changed since then, of course. We've had so many new signings. Lewis Skelly, his minutes haven't been as great as perhaps he would have expected. But you know what? It's just a timely reminder of the quality we have. We have quality options everywhere. They all bring their unique attributes to the table, and it's great that we can utilize them, chop and change. They're all going to get their time to shine. And what's so important in this current Arsenal team, is that when it's your turn to do something, do it well. And this is exactly the type of performance I think Lewis Skelly has been capable of. And just what a moment for him. And he's played the full 90 as well. That's excellent for him. And the other change was Martinelli coming in for Trossard on the left wing. Otherwise, the team was pretty much as expected. I always knew Zubimendi would feature a match of this stature, Spanish opponents with his vast experience in La Liga. For that reason as well, I actually thought Moreno would have started. I thought he would have perhaps started in place of Eza, and Eza maybe moved to the left wing or come on in the second half. But you know what? Each and every time I look at the lineup, there's just no sense of worry from me. There's no sense of dread or concern, because the options are all there. You look at our bench, there's options to change the game throughout. I can understand the logic and the rationale of Arteta choosing the players that he does, and they go out there and they're just doing their thing. It's hard to really pick apart too much about selection when you will 4-0. So it's an extraordinary night for Arsenal. I know I've said that many times, and I've really got that genuine sense tonight that we have sent a message. We've sent a message to Europe, and I'm sure plenty are going to sit up and take notice of that. Onto the first half itself. Very good start, a very bright start from Arsenal. We were unlucky. Well, I guess we were lucky in a way from Eza's shot that it deflected and looped over the defenders, almost caught Oblak out, but it came back in off the crossbar. So unlucky in one respect that it came off the crossbar, but lucky in the other respect of a deflected nature. I think Declan Rice would look at that replay, and his shot on the rebound, he just hit it too far into the ground and it's bounced over. If he had his time over again, I reckon he'd be disappointed with that, because we certainly know the quality of Rice's finish here. So aside from that, there weren't too many other openings. We got in and down the right a couple of times. Timber and Saka got in, but we couldn't find the final ball. I think Atletico, they grew into the half, I must say, after quite a good start from Arsenal. Raucous atmosphere at the Emirates. I saw that light show really set the tone at the start of the match. The Emirates, the atmosphere seemed to be buzzing. The crowd was certainly up for it. So as the sting came out of the game in that first half, I really think Atletico grew into the match. They didn't cause us too many problems, but they had their fair share of possession. They've got quality players all over the pitch, of course. I must say, I should have said this at the start, just two excellently coached teams. I think what you're seeing on both sides of the pitch is a product of managers who just know their systems so well, and it's well drilled, well established, high caliber players across the pitch. A very technical match. It probably got a bit too stop-starty for my liking. It certainly played into Atletico's favour by the nature of it. They were able to stifle our momentum. They were able to foul when they needed to. You know, all the things that you expect at this level, at this caliber of Europe. You know, we're up against one of the preeminent teams in the Champions League. So you always knew that they're going to look to play these little 1% advantages in their favour. And as the half grew on, I sensed a bit of belief from Arsenal that, look, the game is going to open up. It's not always going to be like this. Just make sure we don't concede anything silly or give them anything on the counter. Look, as I said at the opening, I had a feeling that the match would open up in the second half. I didn't think it would go as it did. So I'm going to fast forward. There wasn't too much else to note. Really, look, I will say, just at the very, very opening few minutes, I think Arsenal were lucky to have a yellow card avoided for Lewis Skelly. He did catch, was it Simeone? Simeone's son, actually. I do believe he caught him. And just like the opening challenge from Koke on Zubimendi, if that has not happened in the opening few minutes, you know, there's always that little grace period, rightly or wrongly, from the referee. Some of them don't want to brandish the cards too quickly. If those fouls had happened at any other stage of the match, I think both teams would have been on a yellow card. So got to halftime. I didn't think any changes were necessary. I just knew that we needed to stay in the room, stay in the race, and things would open up in our favour in the second half. And boy, did they. The one takeaway I had from, there was one or two moments in the first half where we didn't quite get the right cross in. I think it was it Saka on all corner duties? I can't quite remember, but he would probably be disappointed that he wasn't able, his set piece delivery wasn't quite there. There was a free kick on the edge of the box a bit later, but we had all of our players in the box ready to go, and there was a lot of pushing and shoving and tussling from Atletico's defence. The referee was all over them. I think Jimenez was already on a yellow at that stage. I thought that was not the time for a short free kick or something. We should have got the ball in there. You never know what can happen. Maybe we can draw a foul or a penalty. But there was one little takeaway I had, one major takeaway, that I had from the first half, is that we just need to make sure we play that ball into the box, because we all know, and everyone in Europe knows what we're capable of from those set pieces. So it was very pleasing to see when we got that free kick in the second half. It was a strange sort of free kick that awarded to Martinelli on, I think it was by Llorente at the end. It was a string of almost half challenges in the lead up and the build up, and you could felt the crowd really getting on the referee's back. And then when there was the collision with Martinelli and Llorente, then he's awarded the free kick. And straight away I saw Rice approach, and I thought, great. He's got a fantastic set-piece delivery on him. As we know, he's able to generate a fantastic whip and curve on the ball. And on 57 minutes, he has whipped in a beautiful cross. And who else is going to be on the end of it but Gabriel? He's a monster. He's the king of Brazil. He's absolutely incredible at what he does. And it was a fantastic finish. Oblak wasn't able to reach it. He's headed it down into the space. It's very, very difficult to save. 1-0 to the Arsenal. I loved the little celebrations. He's gone up towards the flag. I was bouncing up and down here, watching here in Melbourne. And just as quickly as we scored at one end, within moments, Atleti have a break at their end, and Gabriel's got there, and he's got his big giant stride in to block the shot and concede a corner. It was just fantastic. He scores at one end and he goes to blocks at the other. And what's so notable is, and this is the part I love just as much as when we score a goal, I love the way our defenders celebrate when blocking a shot. It's almost as if we scored another goal. Look at his reaction between him, Raya, the exchange with his teammates. I love that stuff. I love the level of care that Arsenal now have in terms of defending. It was brilliant. So within the space of a couple of minutes, he scored one end and blocked at the other. It was just great to see. So soon after that, I very much felt that we've got this match and that we should be able to see it out 1-0. But what the hell do I know? Like, it just goes to show, even though I've been watching Arsenal for 30 years and I would have been content with it with another 1-0 to the Arsenal from a set piece, what the hell do I know? Because the players were up for it. They sensed it. You could sense they were dialing up the intensity, dialing up the pressure. They sensed that there was a chance to kill the game off with a second goal. And you saw it with the intensity that we were moving the ball forward. The crowd sensed it as well. Lewis Skelly on 64 minutes, a magnificent run. He did that a few times in the latter stages of the Champions League last season. He's done it a few times against Madrid and against another Madrid team here. He's done it again today. He's able to keep the ball in close proximity, in close control. His lower body strength is fantastic. I see a lot of similarities between him and Timber. Their lower body half movement, their strength, you can't knock them off the ball. Once it's at their feet, it's almost glued to them. And he uses his physique and his stature so well, and he's still able to drive at pace. And it was a fantastic run, And then Martinelli's timed his run beautifully. Lewis Skelly's played a pinpoint pass. It was just brilliant the way we opened up that entire opportunity, but take nothing away from how much work Martinelli still had to do. He's picked his spot beautifully. A magnificent finish, unsavable, into that bottom corner, pinpoint. One of the great Arsenal goals that I have seen in a long time. And for those of you who don't know, I watch in Melbourne. I watch first thing here in the morning. And by the time this goal went in, it was around 7:30 in the morning. Thankfully, everyone was awake. I didn't wake anyone else up. And my kids love this just as much as I do. So we would jumping off the couch. What a fantastic goal. And from there, I just knew. I knew that was it. Game over. 2-0, and we'd see it through. And it was just a brilliant Arsenal goal. If I was being greedy at the time, noting that I would have happily taken 1-0 and 2-0 most certainly would have done me if offered before the match. If I was being greedy, I looked at the situation. I thought, you know what? What a great time for Gyökeres to break his little drought. If he's able to score one, that would be the icing on the cake. That would just cap off this beautiful European night in Arsenal's favour. And lo and behold, it wasn't the greatest finish. It probably won't make. In fact, these two goals, the third and fourth goal of the match, both scored by Gyökeres. They may not make his highlights reel or his compilation reels that you see plastered over YouTube. But you know what? Who cares? Because he just needs that. If anyone needed one just to somehow, some way go in, just to change the tide and just to break his little drought and change the momentum for him, it was Viktor Gyökeres. And I'm so pleased that he got that little slice of luck because he's everywhere otherwise. His work rate is incredibly hard for the team. I know this is not everyone's cup of tea. I totally understand that. I see that in the comments and the feedback I receive on previous recordings. No one wants to know his dual stats or his kilometers covered or the amount of defenders that he takes out in each challenge when he's got 2 or 3 man marking him. I totally understand that because ultimately the striking position, the centre forward's position is rightly or wrongly, it's really measured by how many goals and goals and assists that they're registering. So I'm so pleased that Gyökeres has that to show for it for his performance tonight. Yes, it's been a bit of a lucky deflection off the foot, but you know what? He was right there in the box, just where you need him to be. What I feel from Arsenal is that so often, and I think Trossard really epitomizes this too, is that so often our play can be that forward play can be instinctive. You need to read the ball, read the state of the match. Where is the ball going to go? Where is it going to pop up? And just position yourself. because if you're not there in the right spot at the right time, then you will never get that chance. And so many times, Gyökeres is there, Trossard is there, of course. Gyökeres' second goal really encapsulated that as well. Once again, engineered by Gabriel. Another assist from a set piece, the way he's able to position himself on and get it towards that back post. He did it against Fulham as well, and he's done it here again for Gyökeres. It's come off his knee or his thigh. Very, very similar, I guess, in many ways to Trossard's winner at Fulham on the weekend in the Premier League. But this is, you can say it's luck, or you can say it's tactics. I prefer to choose the latter. I think Arsenal, as we know with Arteta, they're looking to unlock every single 1%er we can, every tiny margin that we can capitalize on, that we can expose. This team is doing it because the margin between, as we all know, the finest of margins we've suffered from by 3 consecutive second-place finishes in the last few seasons. So every single little thing, little edge that we can try and gain or generate, we are doing. And I strongly believe that this little pattern of Gabriel drifting to the front post and getting that ball in behind, this is tactical. We have players positioned there for that very reason, because when the ball gets in there into that hot zone, you've got to have someone there to pounce. And Trossard and Gyökeres are just the people you want to pounce in that position. And 4-0 by this stage, 4-0 to Arsenal. So from the 57th minute, Gabriel's opener, to Gyökeres then registering his second and the fourth on the night at 70 minutes. 4 goals in 13 minutes of Champions League football. Blistering stuff, absolutely blistering. This is just a wonderful, wonderful night for Arsenal, a wonderful statement victory. And it really, really shows that you just got to be there. You just got to stay in the match. And what Arsenal have built is a foundation of incredible defensive strength. We conceded the shot on target, actually. I've just seen that. Yes, I've just seen that. Oh, my goodness. We've conceded a shot on target. So I think that's the first time in the last 3 matches we've conceded a shot on target. How much things have changed, hey, right? Not only are we now content, are we now just expecting clean sheet after clean sheet, but now I'm looking at that second figure, the shots to Atleti are 11 and shots on target 1. And I'm feeling a bit disappointed. How incredible is that? How far we've come, that I'm now looking at that thinking, geez, what are we doing? What are you guys doing? Amazing stuff. Absolutely amazing. So what I was saying was our position of defensive strength is that we are so hard to score against. And as I've just demonstrated, we are so hard to even give shots on target. So if we can just stay in the match, stay in the room and score at the other end, this can be the difference. We can see matches through and we can grind out victories. They all don't have to be perfect. On any other night, by the way, I must say, whilst I'm talking about this, it was remiss of me to mention in that first half, David Raya had a moment of madness. What was he doing when he came out? He dilly-daddled a little bit. I thought it was going to be one of those routine, him come out and clear it, either boot it into the stands if he needs to, or play it across to the left back. But yeah, we were lucky. We were lucky that the shot then just drifted wide because Raya was nowhere to be seen in goal. And I know that doesn't get reflected in a shot on target. Either does Alvarez's fantastic shot. What a player, by the way. What an absolutely wonderful, beautiful footballer to watch Alvarez is. That his shot that hit the crossbar, that doesn't get registered as a shot on target as well. So rightly or wrongly, I think that's just the definition of how these statistics are conjured. So Arsenal were fortunate, yes, in that regard. On any other night, it could have been 1-0 or even 2, perhaps. And on any other night, with some of the fortune that Arsenal perhaps have received here as well, it doesn't end up 4-0. So 4-0 probably doesn't quite reflect well on Atleti. That they weren't poor at all. They were actually excellent for large periods of the match. I can just see here that they haven't been blown away really anywhere else except on the scoreboard. Possession was vastly similar. 53 possession in favour of Arsenal, 47 to Atleti. So they'll probably leave the Emirates Stadium tonight feeling pretty aggrieved at the 4-0 result. There'd probably be some sour taste in their mouths from that. Hopefully they were able to have a hot shower as well. I read about that when I woke up this morning. How wild is that? Like, I don't think there was any malice or any ill intent in that. I don't think it's one of those things like lasagna gate or something, right? Because from what I've read is that Arsenal's changing rooms, all club rooms were affected by the no hot water, being able to shower after training things. So that was a very unique story, a very unique headline that I saw as I was preparing for this match when I woke up just after 5 a.m. So what else is there to cover? Yes. So then after that, after the fourth goal, we were able to make some changes. I don't believe we made our 5 substitutions. I'll just double check that. I know there was a nice change to bring Gabriel off. That was excellent. He's played a lot of football as well, travelled from Asia last week. Mosquera coming into left centre back, which is very interesting. So to my reckoning, so far Mosquera has played right back, right centre half, and now left centre half this season. Fantastic versatility. Just the type of player that Arteta would profile, that would want. Someone who's multifunctional, can slot in and out in any game state, like the way he came on at Anfield early in the season after 5 minutes when Saliba went down. You knew we've got something very, very special here. And full credit to him, he's come in and just done his thing. We also took Zubimendi off, who as well has played a lot of minutes. Interestingly, with Zubimendi's yellow card tonight, he is now suspended for the next match against Slavia Prague. Look, I'm not trying to dress this up as a good thing or not, but in that match, I believe it's Bayern Munich in the Champions League just after that one. So it's probably not such a bad thing that if he's going to be suspended, that he misses this one instead of Bayern. So Eza also came off. Ethan Nwaneri's come on, which is fantastic for him. Received a great reception. Norgard has about 20-25 minutes of Champions League football under his belt tonight. It's a fantastic moment for him and his family too. Ben White as well has also come on as the final changes. Good to see him back getting some meaningful minutes and being able to manage Timber accordingly. So interestingly on the bench, some unused substitutes. Calafiori completely fresh for the weekend. So will Trossard. Hincapié named on the bench as well. So we've still got the likes of Havertz to return, Madueke, Odegaard. This is just a fantastic position for Arsenal to be in. Fantastic what we are building. It's just a wonderful time to be an Arsenal fan. I know I keep saying that, and I hope you're feeling that too. This is a beautiful time to be an Arsenal fan. I get the sense very much so that's emanating out of the club is that we are here to win it and win it all this season. We know that there's a genuine opportunity to dream and dream big this season. And you can see that reflected in the choices we've made in the transfer market, the level of investment from the ownership, right? The way we've powered up in certain positions. It is fantastic. I will also add that I thought Bukayo Saka as well was fantastic tonight. He's completed back-to-back full matches, Fulham on the weekend and now here midweek against Atleti. This is wonderful to see that his load has been increasing over the last 3 to 4 weeks, including the international break for England. If this is a glimpse of Bukayo Saka getting back to his best, if that's what we have in store for this season, I'm rubbing my hands. Yes, please. Yes, please. He was wonderful yet again. Aside from that, look, I think I'm going to bring this instant reaction style recording to a close and just say it's just a wonderful night for Arsenal, a wonderful performance. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. Thank you so much for watching. If you could please consider liking and subscribing if you're watching on YouTube, or if you're listening on audio platforms, please kindly consider following the show or giving me a review on Apple or Spotify. That will be greatly appreciated. And let me know, how are you feeling? I read every single word, every comment. I receive every feedback. Please let me know anything from where you watched it. If you were at the ground as well, in particular, let me know. How was the mood? How was the atmosphere there? Just a fantastic European night for Arsenal. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I have. I'll be back on again soon because we're going to be back in action against Palace this weekend. And let's just keep this momentum going. Keep going, Arsenal. We are setting ourselves up for something very, very special this season. So that's it from me. I'll sign off there. Thank you so much, as always, for watching. Look after yourselves. Enjoy the match. Check in with your loved ones. Take care, and come on, Arsenal.